Daniel Wright looked out the viewport of the shuttle as it approached the massive structure hanging in space. The Galactic Council Station was bigger than anything humans had ever built, a sprawling collection of rings and spires that glittered against the backdrop of Proxima Centauri. His mouth felt dry. As Earth's first ambassador to the Council, the weight of 7 billion lives rested on his shoulders. "We are cleared for Docking Bay 12, said the pilot, a young lieutenant named Ryan Park. "Ambassador will be there in 5 minutes. Daniel nodded, straightening his formal uniform. After decades of watching the stars, humanity had finally been noticed. The Council had been monitoring Earth for years before making contact 6 months ago. Now they offered conditional membership, whatever that meant. The shuttle slid into a cavernous docking bay where beings of various shapes moved about with purpose. Some looked almost human, while others defied description. Daniel took a deep breath and stepped through the airlock. A tall insectoid creature waited for him, its forearms held in what Daniel hoped was a welcoming gesture. Its outer shell shimmered with blues and greens. "Ambassador Wright of Earth, I am Vexnar, your assigned liaison," it said, its voice coming through Daniel's translator earpiece. "Welcome to the Galactic Council Station." Daniel extended his hand, then awkwardly withdrew it when he realized the gesture might be meaningless. "Thank you for the welcome. I look forward to representing Earth's interests in the Council." Vexnar's antennae twitched. "Follow me. The other representatives are eager to meet you." They walked through wide corridors filled with diverse life forms. Some representatives nodded at Daniel, while others deliberately looked away. "The Council has 27 member species," Vexnar explained. "Some have been spacefaring for thousands of years. Others, like the Centauri, joined only a century ago." "And where does Earth stand?" Daniel asked. "You are unique. Most species are discovered before they develop faster than light travel. Humans were on the verge of creating it independently. This concerns some members." Daniel frowned. "Why would that be concerning?" Vexnar stopped walking. "Because it suggests an unusual rate of technological development. The Taurans believe rapidly advancing species are unpredictable, dangerous." "We come in peace," Daniel said. "Many say that. History suggests otherwise." Vexnar resumed walking. "Your quarters are here. The first council session is tomorrow. I suggest you rest." After Vexnar left, Daniel sat heavily on a strange, contoured bed. He activated his secure communicator to contact Earth. "Ambassador Wright reporting in. I've arrived safely and met my liaison." On the screen, President Barrett nodded. "How does it look, Daniel?" "Complicated. We're not universally welcome. Some species see us as a threat. That's why we selected you. Your diplomatic experience may not be enough," Daniel interrupted. "We need to be careful. There are politics at play I don't fully understand yet." Barrett's face turned serious. "Do what you can. Admiral Kelly has contingency plans, if needed." Daniel frowned. "Military preparations would only confirm their fears about us. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, but Earth will be ready, just in case." Thousands of miles away from the President's 03 months passed quickly on the Council Station. Daniel Wright learned to navigate the complex web of alien politics, making allies where he could. He shared Earth's culture, science, and history with curious species, while carefully avoiding topics that might make humans seem threatening. Daniel sat in his office reviewing reports when his computer chimed. A message appeared from an anonymous source. "Coordinates in Earth's solar system with attached sensor readings." Daniel's eyes widened as he studied the data. The readings showed massive mining operations near Jupiter's moons, operations Earth knew nothing about. He immediately contacted President Barrett. "Madam President, I've received evidence that Council members are extracting resources from our system without permission." Barrett's face hardened on the screen. "Which members?" "The data suggests Tauran ships. They're the most powerful faction in the Council." "This violates our sovereignty," Barrett said. "Bring this to the Council immediately." Daniel nodded grimly. "I will, but it might damage our position." Our position is already damaged if they're stealing from us, Ambassador. The next day, Daniel stood before the full council assembly. The chamber was a vast amphitheater with representatives seated according to their species status. The Taurans occupied the most prominent position, 6 tall, gray-skinned beings with ridged foreheads. Esteemed members of the council, Daniel began, I bring a serious matter before you. Earth has discovered unauthorized mining operations in our home system. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Daniel displayed the evidence on the main screen. These are Tauran vessels extracting resources from Jupiter's moons without Earth's knowledge or consent. The lead Tauran representative, Corv Duel, rose to his feet. His voice boomed across the chamber. How did Earth obtain this information? Your species does not have sensor technology capable of these readings. Daniel stood his ground. The source of our information is not relevant. The violation of our sovereignty is the issue. I disagree, Corv Duel said. Humans are not full council members. Your claim to your entire system is not recognized under council law. We never surrendered our rights to our system, Daniel countered. Perhaps humans have been stealing technology, another Tauran suggested. How else could they detect our operations at such distances? The council erupted in debate. Daniel noticed several representatives watching him with new suspicion. Meanwhile, near Jupiter, Captain Peter Martinez guided the USS Defiant through the shadow of Ganymede. Earth's most advanced stealth vessel remained undetected as it recorded the massive Tauran mining ships stripping resources from the moon. Send another data packet to Admiral Kelly, Martinez told his communications officer. And keep us hidden. If they spot us, this turns from observation to confrontation. Lieutenant Diane Foster nodded. Transmission away, sir. But there's something else you should see. On the screen, a new ship appeared, much larger than the mining vessels. It's a Tauran battlecruiser, Foster said. Why would they need military escort for mining operations? Martinez frowned. Because they know they're stealing or they're preparing for something else, Foster finished. Back on the council station, Daniel left the heated session, feeling eyes on his back. Vexnar approached him in the corridor. You have made powerful enemies today, Ambassador, the insectoid being said quietly. Earth cannot allow theft of our resources, Daniel replied. The Taurans do not see it as theft. They believe developing worlds have no claim to resources they cannot yet utilize. Vexnar's antennae twitched nervously. Be careful. The Taurans rarely forgive challenges to their authority. In her office on Luna Base, Admiral Kelly reviewed the latest transmission from the Defiant. A battlecruiser, she muttered. So that's how it is. Her aide looked concerned. Should we recall Captain Martinez? Kelly shook her head. No. But authorize him to defend his ship if discovered. And move up our timetable. I want our fleet ready in 30 days. Not 60. That's pushing the safety margins, Admiral. If the Taurans are positioning warships in our system, safety margins are already gone. On the station, Daniel prepared for bed, unaware that his communications were being monitored. In his messages to Earth, the Taurans would soon find all they needed to justify their next move. Vice Admiral Samantha Kelly stood in the command center of Earth's hidden lunar base. On the screens before her, engineers worked on ships that the Council knew nothing about. How long until the fleet is ready? She asked her second-in-command. 6 months, Admiral. The new drive systems are being installed now. Samantha nodded, watching as workers swarmed over the hull of their newest vessel. Let's hope Wright succeeds, but prepare as if he won't. Back on the station, Daniel unpacked his few belongings. Tomorrow he would face the Council and begin the work of securing humanity's place among the stars. He did not know that some members had already decided Earth's fate, or that Ambassador Wright of Earth had just 90 days to live. Daniel Wright entered the Grand Council chamber for what seemed like a routine session. Several species nodded to him as he took his seat in the human section. 3 months of careful diplomacy had earned him some respect, despite the ongoing tension with the Taurans. The head council member, a jellyfish-like being called Elder Zol, floated to the center platform. Before the elder could speak, 6 Toran security officers surrounded Daniel's seat. What is the meaning of this? Daniel stood up, looking around in confusion. Corv Duel stepped forward. Ambassador Daniel Wright of Earth, you are charged with espionage and theft of classified weapons technology. The chamber erupted in surprised murmurs. Daniel's face showed shock and anger. This is absurd. I demand to see evidence of these false accusations. Corv Duel activated a large screen. It showed doctored footage of Daniel entering a restricted area and downloading files. This is fake, Daniel protested. I've never been to that section of the station. Elder Zol waved 2 tentacles. These are serious charges we must investigate properly. There is no need for investigation, Corv Duel insisted. The evidence is clear. Earth has been stealing technology since they arrived. Their sudden ability to detect our operations proves it. Daniel looked to his few allies among the council. The Arcturian representative stood up. We should allow Earth to present a defense. Ambassador Wright deserves a fair hearing. Other members nodded in agreement, but the Torans had already moved. The security officers grabbed Daniel's arms. This is an outrage, Daniel shouted as they dragged him away. Contact Earth immediately. This is a violation of diplomatic protocol. His voice faded as the doors closed behind him. The council erupted into arguments. Near Jupiter, Captain Martinez watched his communications officer's face grow pale. What is it, Lieutenant Foster? He asked. Sir, we just intercepted a council broadcast. They've arrested Ambassador Wright on charges of espionage. Martinez cursed under his breath. Send everything we've recorded about these mining operations to Admiral Kelly. Full data package, highest priority. There's more, sir, Foster said quietly. The Toran ships are moving. All of them. They're forming a defensive pattern. Martinez studied the tactical display. They're preparing for Earth's response. They wanted us to see this. He turned to his first officer. Battle stations. We may need to fight our way home. On the council station, Daniel sat in a small cell. The door opened and Vexnar entered, antennae drooping. They are not giving you a proper trial, the insectoid said. The Torans pushed through an emergency security protocol. You will face judgment tomorrow in a closed session. This is a setup, Daniel said. They found out we discovered their mining operations. Yes, but it is worse than that. The Torans want access to Earth's resources. Your world has materials rare in this sector. They have been planning this since first contact. You need to warn Earth, Daniel said urgently. Vexnar's compound eyes shifted nervously. I cannot interfere. But know this, not all council members agree with what is happening. After Vexnar left, Daniel tried to access his emergency communicator, but it had been taken. He was alone. Admiral Kelly stood before President Barrett and the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the White House Situation Room. The mood was grim. The Defiance data confirms it, Kelly said. The Torans have been setting us up from the beginning. Now they've taken our ambassador on false charges. What are our options? President Barrett asked. Limited and bad, Kelly replied. The Defiant is too far to extract Ambassador Wright. Our other ships aren't ready for direct confrontation. So we do nothing while they put our ambassador on trial? A general asked angrily. We prepare, Kelly said firmly. The trial is a formality. The Torans have already decided the outcome. We should assume the worst and act accordingly. President Barrett looked at each face in the room. Activate Operation Nemesis. Full mobilization. Effective immediately. The next day, Daniel Wright stood before a panel of 5 council members. No Earth representatives were present. The room was small, with only a dozen witnesses. The people of Earth watched in stunned silence as the video of Ambassador Wright's execution played on screens around the world. In homes, offices, and public squares, the footage repeated again and again. Wright standing tall as the Toran executioner approached, his final words cut off as the energy beam struck. President Olivia Barrett stood before the United Nations. General Assembly, her face a mask of controlled anger. The room was absolutely silent. 3 hours ago, the Galactic Council executed Ambassador Daniel Wright without a fair trial or proper representation. This act cannot and will not stand. She paused, her hands gripping the podium. As of this moment, Earth withdraws from all negotiations with the Galactic Council. We consider this execution an act of war. The assembly erupted in shouts of agreement. Nations that had been enemies for generations found themselves unified by a common threat from beyond the stars. The security of our planet, our system, and our species is now our only priority, Barrett continued. I am authorizing full military mobilization effective immediately. In orbit around the moon, Admiral Kelly addressed the commanders of Earth's hidden fleet. For years we've been building in secret. Now it's time to show the Council what humanity is capable of. She activated a holographic display showing dozens of ships. Operation Nemesis begins in 24 hours. Your targets have been assigned. Captain Martinez stood among the other officers. His uniform was wrinkled. He had come straight from the Defiant after a dangerous high-speed journey home. Admiral, he said, the Taurans have a battlecruiser near Jupiter. My ship recorded its capabilities. Kelly nodded. Your data has been valuable, Captain. Now you'll put it to use. The Defiant will lead the first strike against the mining facilities. With pleasure, Admiral. In the Science Division of Luna Base, Dr. Alice Freeman activated systems that had been hidden from Council observers. Massive shield generators around Earth hummed to life for the first time. Shield grid at 60% and rising, she reported. Full coverage in 3 hours. Her assistant looked nervous. Will it be enough if they attack? Alice's face was grim. It will buy us time, and time is what we need most. On the Council station, news of Earth's rapid mobilization caused confusion and alarm. Council members gathered in emergency session. How did they hide such capabilities? One representative demanded. Elder Zol's tentacles waved in agitation. The Tauran delegation assured us Earth was primitive by our standards. Corv Duel stood, impassively. They must have stolen and adapted our technology. This proves their guilt. An Arcturian representative pointed at the Tauran. Or it proves you severely underestimated them. You pushed for execution rather than diplomacy. And now, we face war. Near Jupiter, the crew of the Tauran mining ships detected unusual energy readings. Before they could report, 5 Earth vessels appeared, led by the USS Defiant. This is Captain Peter Martinez of Earth. You are operating illegally in Earth territory. Surrender or be destroyed. The Tauran ships attempted to form a defensive pattern, but they were mining vessels, not warships. The Defiant fired first, its new weapons cutting through Tauran shields like paper. The other Earth ships followed suit. The Tauran battlecruiser moved to intercept, but Martinez had studied its capabilities. The Defiant slipped under the larger ship's firing arc and launched specialized missiles at precise points. Direct hits. On all targets, Lieutenant Foster reported. Their engines are disabled. Martinez opened a channel to the crippled battlecruiser. Your mining operation is over. Return to Tauran space with this message. Earth is not defenseless. This is your only warning. Across the solar system, similar scenes played out as Earth ships revealed themselves and struck with precision. President Barrett addressed her military council as reports of victory came in. Phase 1 is complete. We've secured our solar system. General Alan Price looked concerned. The Taurans will retaliate with their main fleet. Barrett nodded. We're counting on it. Admiral Kelly's fleet is already moving to Phase 2. On her flagship, the USS Vengeance, Admiral Kelly watched as 100 warships prepared to jump beyond the solar system. Set course for the Tauran homeworld, she ordered. It's time they learned what happens when you execute an Earth diplomat. Corv Duel read the verdict without emotion. For crimes against galactic peace, Ambassador Daniel Wright of Earth is sentenced to death. The sentence will be carried out immediately. Daniel stood tall. Earth will not forget this injustice. Across the galaxy, Captain Martinez watched in horror as the execution was broadcast to all Council worlds. His hands gripped the edge of his console until his knuckles turned white. Set course for Earth, maximum speed, he ordered. They need to see this. The USS Vengeance emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Tauran home system. Admiral Kelly stood on the bridge, watching as 99 other Earth ships appeared alongside her flagship. The element of surprise was their greatest advantage. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her second-in-command said. Kelly nodded. "Begin the attack. Target their shipyards and defense platforms first." Earth ships accelerated toward the inner system. The Taurans had built their civilization across 3 planets orbiting a red dwarf star. Their military headquarters and main shipyards circled the second planet. Alarms blared across Tauran space as they detected the human fleet. Their own ships scrambled to respond, but they were caught unprepared. No enemy had dared attack Tauran territory in over 300 years. On Earth, Dr. Alice Freeman activated the planetary shield grid at full power. The shimmer of energy became visible from the ground as a faint aurora covering the entire sky. "Shield grid at 100%, she reported to President Barrett. "We can withstand heavy bombardment for at least 72 hours. Barrett watched the holographic display showing Earth's defenses. "What about the moon base?" "Protected by its own shield. Mars colony, too." "We've prepared for this moment for years." Lieutenant Jason Carter led his team of 20 Special Forces soldiers through the service tunnels of the Council Station. Their mission: extract all remaining humans before the Council could take more hostages. 2 guards ahead, his sergeant whispered. Carter nodded. They used non-lethal stun weapons to disable the guards. The team moved quickly through the station, gathering Earth scientists, diplomats, and their families. "Lieutenant, we found something," a soldier called over the radio. "Looks like data storage. Lots of files about Earth." "Download everything," Carter ordered. It might reveal who else was involved in Wright's execution. The Tauran defense fleet engaged the Earth ships. Their vessels were larger and more heavily armored, but Earth ships were faster and more maneuverable. The battle spread across the system. Captain Martinez took the Defiant through a gap in the Tauran formation, leading a squadron of smaller ships toward the main shipyard. "Target the construction bays," he ordered. "Don't let those new battlecruisers launch." The Defiant fired its main weapons. Energy beams sliced through the partially built ships. Secondary explosions cascaded through the massive structure. "Direct hits on all targets," Lieutenant Foster reported. "Shipyard defenses are responding, but they're confused. They didn't expect us to know their weak points." Martinez allowed himself a small smile. "We've been studying them since first contact. They thought we were blind, but we saw everything." The Council Station erupted in chaos as news of the attack reached them. Some members demanded immediate retaliation against Earth. Others called for negotiations. Elder Zoll confronted Corvdul in the emergency session. "You assured us humans were primitive. Now they attack the Tauran homeworld and our sensors detect an energy shield around Earth unlike anything we possess." Corvdul's gray skin darkened with anger. They must have had help. Perhaps from Council. Traitors like the Arcturians who opposed the execution. The Arcturian representative stood up. "We opposed it because it was unjust. Now we face a war that threatens all Council species because of your greed for Earth's resources." As they argued, Lieutenant Carter and his team reached their extraction point. 53 humans were ready for evacuation. "Transport standing by," Carter said into his communicator. "Prepare for immediate departure." A flash of blue light surrounded the group as the transport beam activated. Seconds later, they materialized on an Earth rescue ship already moving away from the station. One of the diplomats approached Carter. "Thank you, Lieutenant. We thought we'd be next after Ambassador Wright." "No one gets left behind," Carter replied. "Not anymore." In the Tauran system, Admiral Kelly received 6 months after Ambassador Wright's execution. The war had spread across multiple star systems. Earth forces had secured not only their home system, but had pushed deep into Tauran territory, capturing 3 of their colony worlds. The Council, once united against Earth, now faced its own internal conflicts. Admiral Kelly stood in the war room of the USS Vengeance, studying the holographic map of known space. Red markers showed Tauran strongholds, while blue indicated Earth-controlled areas. "The Taurans are falling back to their core worlds," she told her officers. "Their outer defenses are collapsing faster than expected." Captain Martinez, recently promoted after his successes in battle, pointed to a neutral zone on the map. "We're getting strange signals from this sector. The Arcturians have been trying to contact us." Kelly frowned. "Can we trust them? They were part of the council that allowed Wright's execution. They voted against it," Martinez reminded her. "And our intelligence suggests they've broken from the council entirely." Before Kelly could respond, a communication officer interrupted. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority message from Earth. The Arcturians have made official contact with President Barrett." On Earth, President Barrett met with Zhenla, the Arcturian ambassador, in a heavily guarded bunker beneath the White House. Dr. William Morris, Earth's new diplomatic chief, sat beside her. "We bring evidence that may change your understanding of this conflict," Zhenla said, placing a small device on the table. It projected documents and recordings. "The Taurans engineered this war. They manipulated the council and falsified evidence against your ambassador." Barrett studied the evidence carefully. "Why would they want war with us?" "Resources," Zhenla explained. "Your system contains elements rare in this part of the galaxy. But more importantly, they feared you. Human technological development outpaces all known species. The Taurans believed that in 50 years you would surpass them." Dr. Morris leaned forward. "So they decided to crush us before we became a threat." "Yes, but they severely underestimated your military readiness." Zhenla's large eyes blinked slowly. "Several council species wish to establish peace with Earth. We propose neutral territory for negotiations." Barrett looked at Morris. "What do you think, Doctor?" "It could be a trap," he warned. "But if genuine, it could divide council opposition further." "Tell Admiral Kelly to send a diplomatic ship to the coordinates," Barrett decided, "but keep our fleet at battle readiness." On the colony world New Geneva, representatives from Earth met with delegates from 5 council species. The planet's twin suns cast multiple shadows across the conference hall as Dr. Morris led the Earth delegation. "We appreciate this opportunity for dialogue," he began. "But Earth requires justice for Ambassador Wright's murder." The Regelian delegate, a tall being with crystalline skin, nodded. "The council was misled by the Taurans. Many of us have withdrawn support for their actions." "Words are easy," Morris replied. "We need guarantees and reparations." As they negotiated, Admiral Kelly received troubling news from Earth's intelligence network. She immediately contacted President Barrett. "Madam President, we've intercepted Tauran communications. They're planning something big, a direct assault on Earth itself." Barrett's face hardened on the screen. "How is that possible?" "We control all approaches to our system. They've been working with someone inside the council. We believe they've obtained technology that can bypass our detection grid." "How soon?" "Days, maybe hours. I'm redirecting half the fleet back to Earth immediately." Barrett nodded. "I'll recall Dr. Morris from the peace talks." Kelly hesitated. "Ma'am, if we pull him out now, we lose a chance to divide our enemies." "What do you suggest?" "Continue the negotiations. Let the Taurans think we're distracted. Meanwhile, we'll prepare a special welcome for their attack force." In the Vengeance's engine room, engineers worked frantically to prepare the ship for emergency hyperspace jump back to Earth. The chief engineer wiped sweat from his brow as he rerouted power systems. "We'll burn out the primary drive coils," he warned Kelly, "but we'll get there in time." Kelly nodded grimly. "Do whatever it takes, Earth comes first." As Earth prepared for the coming battle, Dr. Morris continued peace negotiations, unaware that the Taurans were about to launch their most desperate gambit. The war was about to reach Earth's doorstep, and humanity would face its greatest test. Updates from all battle groups. Earth forces had destroyed 7 major shipyards and disabled dozens of Tauran warships. The surprise attack was working. "Admiral," her communications officer called. "We're receiving a message from the Tauran. High Command. They're requesting a ceasefire." Kelly's expression remained hard. "Tell them we'll discuss terms after they surrender their entire fleet. Earth doesn't negotiate with executioners." As the battle continued, other council species watched in shock. Humanity had revealed itself to be far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. and they had only just begun to fight. The skies above Washington, D.C. turned red as emergency alerts blared across the city. Tauran ships had appeared without warning, bypassing Earth's early detection systems using technology provided by traders within the Council. 12 massive warships descended through the atmosphere, their weapons already firing at the shield grid. Major Nicole Ross stood on the roof of the Pentagon, watching energy blasts impact the shields. Each hit made the protective dome shimmer and weaken. "All units deploy," she ordered into her communicator. "This is not a drill. Alien forces are attempting to breach the Capitol." Across the city, defense units moved into position. Civilians rushed to underground shelters as military vehicles filled the streets. The shields would not hold forever. Dr. Alice Freeman worked frantically in her laboratory beneath the city. The shield grid was losing power faster than expected. "The Taurans are using some kind of resonance weapon," she told her team. "It's specifically designed to disrupt our shield frequency." Her assistant looked worried. "Can we adapt?" "Not quickly enough." Alice turned to a sealed door at the back of the lab. "We need to activate the Artemis array. But it's not fully tested. The power requirements alone could—" "We don't have a choice," Alice interrupted. "If Washington falls, the president falls with it." In orbit, the USS Vengeance emerged from emergency hyperspace, the hull glowing from the dangerous speed. "Admiral," Kelly had pushed the ship beyond its limits to reach Earth in time. "Damage report," she demanded, steadying herself as the ship stabilized. "Drive coils burned out. Shield generators at 40%. Weapons operational." Kelly nodded grimly. "Target the Tauran ships in atmosphere. Priority to any vessel near the Capitol." Captain Martinez's voice came through the communication system. "Admiral, the Defiant is approaching from the lunar base with 5 escort ships. We can attack from below while you hit them from orbit." "Do it," Kelly ordered. "Coordinate with Major Ross on the ground. We need to trap them between us." In Washington, the shields finally collapsed. Tauran dropships descended immediately, landing in parks and wide avenues. Armored soldiers poured out, firing energy weapons at anything that moved. Major Ross led her troops from the front, using buildings for cover as they engaged the alien forces. Her soldiers carried weapons specifically designed to penetrate Tauran armor. "They're heading for the White House," her sergeant reported. "At least 300 ground troops." "Where's the president?" Ross asked as she fired at an advancing Tauran. "Secure in the bunker. But if they take the White House, it's a symbolic victory." Ross nodded. "Not going to happen. 7th Division with me. We're going to cut them off at Pennsylvania Avenue." In the underground laboratory, Dr. Freeman activated the Artemis array. The massive weapon had been built in secret, designed to target ships in orbit. Using it against vessels in the atmosphere was risky. "Powering up," she announced as the facility hummed with energy. Targeting systems online. On her monitor, she could see the Tauran ships hovering above the city. She selected the largest vessel, the command ship. Fire. A brilliant beam of energy shot upward from a hidden installation outside the city. It struck the Tauran command ship directly. The vessel exploded immediately, the blast temporarily blinding anyone who looked up. The other Tauran ships scattered in confusion. As they attempted to regroup, the Defiant and its escorts attacked from below while the Vengeance fired from orbit. "We've got them caught in the crossfire," Martinez reported. But the victory came at a cost. The Artemis array had drawn power from the entire eastern seaboard. The resulting energy surge damaged Earth's moon base, killing dozens of personnel. On the ground, Major Ross led her troops in pushing back the Tauran ground forces. Without support from their ships, the aliens found themselves outmatched by human soldiers fighting to defend their home. "We've got them on the run," Ross told her troops as the Taurans began to retreat. 1 year after Ambassador Daniel Wright's execution, Earth ships surrounded the Tauran homeworld. The once mighty Tauran hegemony lay in ruins, their fleets destroyed and colonies captured. The final battle had lasted 3 days, ending when Earth forces disabled the planetary defense grid. Admiral Samantha Kelly stood on the bridge of the USS Vengeance, looking down at the gray world below. Her uniform bore new medals, but her eyes carried the weight of a year of brutal war. The Toran High Command has surrendered unconditionally, her communications officer reported. They're ready to meet our terms. Kelly nodded. Begin landing our occupation forces. I want control of every major city within 24 hours. Captain Martinez, now wearing an admiral's insignia himself, approached Kelly. Hard to believe. It's finally over. The fighting is over, Kelly corrected him. Now comes the harder part, making sure this never happens again. On Earth, President Barrett addressed the United Nations. The chamber had been rebuilt after the Toran attack, with a memorial wall bearing the names of those lost. Today marks the end of humanity's first interstellar war, she announced. The Toran leadership will stand trial for war crimes, including the murder of Ambassador Wright. But our work is just beginning. She activated a holographic display showing a new space station orbiting Earth. The old Council station has been moved to Earth orbit. From here, we will build a new alliance of species based on mutual respect, not dominance or fear. In the rebuilt Council chamber, now called the Hall of Nations, Dr. William Morris prepared to sign the Treaty of Sol. Representatives from 12 former Council species stood with him, including the Arcturians and Regelians. This treaty establishes the new interstellar alliance, Morris explained to the observers. Earth will be a founding member with equal rights and responsibilities. Genla, the Arcturian ambassador, stepped forward. We acknowledge humanity's rightful place among the stars. Your people have proven their strength and their wisdom. Morris signed the document first, followed by each alien representative. As he finished, he glanced at the statue now standing in the center of the hall, a perfect likeness of Daniel Wright. He would be proud of what we've accomplished, Genla said, noticing Morris's gaze. He died believing in peaceful cooperation. Morris replied, That's still our goal even after everything that's happened. Major Nicole Ross, promoted to colonel after the Battle of Washington, led the honor guard at the dedication ceremony for the Wright Memorial. Thousands gathered to see the monument, a simple stone obelisk engraved with Wright's final words. Earth will not forget. Dr. Alice Freeman had rebuilt the Artemis array, improving its design based on technology captured during the war. Similar defense systems now protected all human settlements throughout the solar system. The shields can withstand anything the old Council species could throw at us, she explained to a group of officials. And the detection grid extends 10 light years in all directions. No one will ever catch us by surprise again. Admiral Martinez prepared his new flagship, the USS Explorer, for its maiden voyage. Unlike the warships that had fought the Torans, this vessel was designed primarily for discovery. We'll be gone for at least 2 years, he told his crew. Our mission is to explore beyond known space, to find new civilizations and establish peaceful contact. Lieutenant Foster, now his first officer, smiled. So we're going back to exploration, not war. That was always the plan, Martinez replied. We just had to make sure the galaxy understood that humans come in peace, but we're perfectly capable of war when provoked. On the rebuilt moon base, Admiral Kelly reviewed the latest reports from across human space. New colonies were thriving. On former Toran worlds, Earth ships patrolled trade routes that had once been closed to them. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars. Kelly looked out the viewport at Earth, glowing blue and green below. The planet seemed smaller now, just one world among many where humans lived. But it would always be home. In the Hall of Nations, a small light glowed perpetually beside Daniel Wright's statue. It would burn forever, a reminder of how quickly peace could turn to war, and how determined humanity was to ensure that Wright's sacrifice would never be forgotten or repeated. Admiral, Kelly watched from orbit as the remaining Toran ships attempted to escape. Her weapons officers waited for her command. No survivors, she ordered coldly. They came to destroy our capital. Make sure none return to report on our defenses. The Vengeance's weapons fired in unison, catching the fleeing ships before they could jump to hyperspace. The last Toran vessel exploded silently against the blackness of space. The attack had failed, but the war was far from over, and humanity's resolve had never been stronger.